Hello, hello. Welcome to Burn, Babylon Burn. And holy hell, we want Babylon to burn right now. They're fucking everything up.
A lot of things are burning. Another egg factory caught on fire recently.
Are you serious? Holy shit.
No, I'm not kidding at all.
An egg factory caught on fire? What the crap?
Yeah,
I didn't put
this one
that in the
happened
description.
in Minnesota, and
Really?
a month before, just about almost a month to the day, another egg factory incinerated all of their chickens because of the ridiculous PCR test. So apparently, we are at a 7-year low on egg production at this point, and it
That
only gets lower.
how how are they fun like it's really funny for me. I just have to say this, and I'm sorry I look like some weird ghost on this thing, but how are we at a point where mainstream media people
Are
base
ignoring stuff like this? Well,
no,
one,
let me restate it.
okay.
Dave Rubin came out last week and by mainstream I mean like the new alt stream is what I mean by mainstream.
Oh, okay, that
These
mainstream.
new these newer people are basically going, I swear they're trying to burn the system to the ground at this point.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no other explanation.
yeah.
I swear
To
they're trying to burn it to the ground. They're trying to
the
destroy everything.
This is the Great Reset. That's what it's about. It's about destroying everything from before, and then you will eat the bugs. Klaus wants you to eat the bugs, so he's burning down egg factories or having people burn them down for him. And Bill Gates is owning all the farmland, and these food issues are only going to get worse.
But
Most
what's up
most of
with
the
this?
most of the meat that I end up taking from the United States into Mexico, it's sometimes when you take it there, they process it and package it. Um, but I don't know. I wonder. One of my friends, he lives near the railway in Seattle, and he says that he sees 7 grainers every day outbound, which means to China.
Really?
Yeah, really. Like, this is serious, and this is
It's a
on
load of BS.
purpose. This is by design. It's complete mismanagement, just like the baby formula situation. They're mismanaging things. They're destroying things. The airplane that crash landed into the General Mills plant a few weeks ago in Georgia. There is definitely something going on. This is not a coincidence. This is not lightning striking in all the same places. This is not a coincidence at all. They are trying to starve us. Starving populations are very easy to control. Starving populations will do something stupid like hand over their guns whenever the government demands it because they just want to put some food on the table. Although your guns will put food on your table. So,
Yeah, man, there's a really if you just watch the I don't even know if the right word is still alt stream, but
mhm.
the Dave Rubins, the Ben Shapiro's, the Scott Adams, they're
Oh, they're
becoming
they're just a layer under the mainstream. They're not.
no, but they're
Yeah.
becoming more and more and more pro gun. Like
Oh,
every
that's
this
that's great. I want everybody. I don't care what. I don't care who you screw. I don't care what color you are. I think everyone needs to have something to defend themselves. One of the main reasons, and I've said this before, is that whenever confiscation starts to become reality, that they go, "Oh no, I'm not going in there," or any other kind of tyranny. If I said it the other day on Twitter that um, the next time there's some crazy vaccine coming around that the government and the media wants you to take, you won't get a chance to refuse it because you won't be able to protect yourself. And that's why they're coming after this stuff right now.
well,
One
that's why
thing,
they're trying to.
Right. Well, they're trying pretty hard. It's passing through the House at the moment. I know you were saying in our personal conversation before that you don't think it'll pass the Senate, but after seeing the way the Senate just gave all our money to the Ukraine, while all of these food situations that I was just talking about earlier, I don't trust them. I don't trust
I,
Crenshaw.
I
I don't trust Ted Cruz. I have a couple I trust. I trust Rand for sure because I know his dad and his dad's awesome. I actually went to the Ron Paul conference last weekend. It was great.
oh really?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, Tom Luongo's speech was epic.
And no,
And
so who you met whose dad?
I was joking. I said I know Rand's dad.
Oh, Rand Paul. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but but for me, one of the I had a thought, and you fluttered away the thought. Let me try to pull back the thought. One of the thoughts was, dang, that's what it was. Is that if you want to play the political game, the reason that they voted, one reason you would vote to send money to Ukraine is to stave off the food crisis because you help rebuild the country that produces all the grain. So you could find a way to justify it, even though it doesn't make tons of sense, because you could just build all the grain here. But we have
But they
so many
want
we
they want to
we have
tie Ukraine up into a war with Russia to make Russia use a lot of its resources in order to deal with an opponent that would normally be very easy. But all of these countries keep pumping money in there, prolonging it, killing more Ukrainians, killing more Russians, and that's what seems to be going on. If they really wanted anything, they would negotiate peace. If they want the food in Europe to happen and be good, then they would negotiate peace. And I think that a lot of windows are closing. I know that Zelensky just said, I'm not negotiating anymore because we sent him a whole bunch of money. And the thing is, Ukraine does not stand a chance. They stand zero chance. In fact, Russia's ground troops, if we were fighting Russia on the ground in the United States, we would have a lot of trouble. Russia has got some of the best ground troops in the entire world.
I disagree with you 100% on that.
You should listen to Scott Ritter a lot more, and Colonel McGregor. They're
But
really great on these situations. They really understand Russia very well, and a lot. There's so much propaganda on both sides. I understand, but I
they
think that
wouldn't
those two
even be able
guys.
to get to the ground or the air, but if they were to get to the ground, they'd be fucked.
Oh, you mean Russia versus the United States on the ground? Well, I don't know.
They'd
I
be
think if the United States tried to attack Russia on the ground in Russia, they would be done for. But if Russia tried to attack the United States in the United States, we would definitely give them a run for their money. So
no,
it's
they not
it's
just to
tough,
run for
but
their money, they'd be
yeah,
fucked. They'd be
they probably
completely
would.
fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that's part of like it was really fun listening to Scott Adams this morning. And Scott Adams this morning was basically put out the point, which both you and me already know. The reason all the other governments around the world that that the progressives go like, why can't we be like New Zealand or why can't we be like England? It's like because we're America. They exist with their
I
gun
lived in New Zealand.
legislation. Well, I don't know about
You
New
know that.
Zealand, but
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this though. New Zealand, I lived there in 2006. It's an island nation, so one thing, it doesn't have the same problems the United States has with situations like illegal immigration and such. Um,
we can be an
and
island with just one border. We can literally be an island with one border. It's just due to the government ineptity. Ineptity, is that the right word?
uh, you can make it a word right now if you want to. I don't know for sure, but I know
Ineptity?
ineptitude, maybe.
Ineptitude, there we go.
Yeah, but ineptity will be the new word. I mean, we can call anything we want. We can point at that and say that that man is a woman, and
Yeah, there we go.
that and that the bugs are a hamburger or nachos or whatever you want to call the bugs. Um,
I, it's just so stupid watching this whole situation unfold, that where they're complaining about guns, and it's just like, you do you guys realize that the reason all these different countries can exist without guns is because we have a fuck ton of guns. That's the only reason, because
That
we have
that's
your
true.
back. We
That's
know
true
you, we
for
have your
one.
back, and we're not getting invaded. So back the F off, you stupid idiots. And it was
And number
so
two,
funny. Listen,
last year, last year, whenever they were trying to force all of these things on these people, guess what those people had to do? They had to take whatever drugs that the government wanted them to take. And you didn't have that as much here. You had pressure from your job, but they weren't going door to door, and they weren't making it
mhm.
to where you had to have it to enter the grocery store or something extreme like that. And I think they will next time if they have more powerful gun legislation. So I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
exactly.
I
That's why we
see
have the
that things
Second Amendment.
passing. I see things passing through the House, and I know you said that that it might not go, it probably won't go through the Senate, but I'm not trusting a lot of senators.
But the
So
thing is, if they actually push it through, there's going to be such a massive uprising. Sticks Hexenhammer points out every single time there's a mass shooting, the desire for less gun regulations goes up. Whenever there's a mass shooting, we want more access to guns.
right,
There was a barber. Did you hear? Did you know that? Not even the barber. So the barber gave the shotgun to the guy in the Texas place,
Texas, please.
the mass
Are you
shooting that
saying
just happened.
okay? So a barber gave the shotgun to who?
The guy that took down the gunman.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
No,
the guy didn't have a weapon with him at the time, and he just walked into the barber shop. And he was like, "What you got?"
no, he was getting a haircut at the barber shop. He
Oh,
got a
wow,
text.
wow.
He got a text message from his wife going, "Holy shit, I need help. I love you." Like something along that lines. Like there's a gunman at the school. We need help. Love you. Goodbye. He didn't have his service weapon on him because he was off duty, and for some stupid reason, he didn't have his service weapon on him. The barber that he was with, he said, "Oh crap, I've got to go. My wife's in a school shooting scenario," and the barber gave him his gun, and he went and killed the guy that was shooting up the school.
Okay. Um, that's yeah, that's awesome. I think if maybe the police didn't keep everybody out for a complete hour before that. They were preventing anyone from entering and not entering themselves. I guess they were waiting for him to tire himself out, run out of ammo before the police actually got involved. And that they're under no obligation to protect you. So what are they here for? What are they for? And why can't I just defend myself? And why are you trying to take that right away from me? Not you particularly, but I'm talking to the government right now. Why does the government want to take my right to protect myself whenever they say that they won't protect me? I know I sound like everybody else on the right wing at the moment, but I mean, it's just a simple thing. And I really don't want to dwell on this too much because everybody's talking about it right now. But, I
But
am pro second, and
there's
I
a
think it's the most important and biggest fight right now. It is the most important fight. We won't have a country if we don't have a second.
mhm.
Rant.
So rant. Okay, I'll rant. So Sticks Hexenhammer 666 makes the point that we should not deal with a hired police force anymore. They should all be elected. They should all be sheriffs. So they're all held accountable, and they should all come from the same neighborhoods and counties that they work in.
That's
What are your thoughts
sounds
on
way
that?
better. Way better. Yeah.
To me, that
Uh,
sounds way better. They're held accountable.
and
If they're cowards, they'll get thrown out.
here's the other thing is getting to know your sheriffs is very important because whenever something unconstitutional like what they're trying to pass right now actually makes it through, and let's say that due to shenanigans, the Supreme Court can't protect us anymore, then getting to know your sheriff and your sheriff saying none of that crap is happening in my town really helps you out quite a bit. I really hope that this really becomes the red state, blue state division, and we start working toward the peaceful divorce. I feel like it's a pipe dream, but but a lot of people talk about it all the time because it's like the great big fantasy of the moment.
Well, I think there's. I don't think. I think the peaceful divorce is 3% of the left wanting that divorce, and the rest of them just need to be woken up to what happens when they lose their farmers.
I don't think that they can be woken up. I think that whenever they're starving, they're gonna be like, dang it, Putin, like, or Trump, or let's blame Elon, because that's what they do. They find something else to blame because they're always on this thing.
I was getting bitten by too many mosquitoes, so I'm retreating inside my truck.
Okay,
Oh, and I also forgot my phone battery was close to dying. So, um,
so we might have to cut it short, is what you're saying there.
no, no, no. I just got into my truck.
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool.
so my other for me, it's really fun watching the new media rally behind the guns and rally behind free speech. Every single person on the new media is like, I don't care if you disagree with me. Let's just have a conversation. Scott Adams, Tim Pool, who got swatted last night. Was it last night? Yeah, it was last night.
I think it was last night. Yeah, Kavanaugh
Um,
got swatted last night too, or not
well,
swatted. He had an assassin trying to go after him.
let's hit on that in just a second.
Yeah,
Um, but it's a consistent barrage to where they're trying to, they meaning the mainstream media and the elites, are just trying to attack this, and it's like, guys, we've got answers. Just and I don't think the
it's
American
it's the
people.
same. It's the same mass formation. It's the same people. So it's the same people that were on about abortion. It's the same people that were on about COVID. It's the same people every single time. They're programmed robotic zombies, whatever you want to call them, but they're always repeating the line. They're in lockstep. So like I don't know if you've heard about this, but in Georgia, the primaries just happened, and there was no opponent for Stacey Abrams. So a lot of the registered Democrats voted in this Republican primary so that they could give her the gimme opponent. And also, the guy is on the side of the globalist. So either way, we get a globalist.
Yeah,
And so like
but
the
but
odds are stacked
but
all the
on the other
time.
side, on the flip side, the guy in, was it Los Angeles,
I haven't heard
San
this one.
Francisco. So in San Francisco, a billionaire who developed like huge shopping districts switched from a Republican to Democrat, and he's winning the vote. He just
Oh,
switched from a.
he pulled a switcheroo.
He was just like, "Oh, I'm a Democrat now. Sorry, guys." And now he's actually winning for I can't I think it's the mayorship of San Francisco. It's one of those big areas over there. And so he
Well,
was just like, "I'll just flip parties." And they just voted out that BS idiot who allowed people to raid Walgreens, etc. You heard about the Walgreens raids,
oh,
right?
I know about this. A lot of the soft on crime there are also funded by Soros-owned NGOs. So
Yeah, yeah.
this
So the guy
this
that
is a
was
thing
funded
that's
by
happening. Yeah,
Soros, mhm,
yeah.
he just got thrown out.
Oh wow, wow! It's not every day you defeat the Open Society, and
So
it's mostly Alexander at this point. But George will still get up there and grumble at his
yeah,
meetings at
and
Davos.
he has all the money.
Yeah, he
But
does. He does. He's
but
very
base
scary, and he
but
has a
ba-
lot of power.
but basically the people basically just voted. his attorney general, whoever like decides what the laws that allow you to go to jail are or something like that, they voted that guy out. So that they held some type of, I can't remember what the correct term is, but they voted him out. And then um, the guy that's winning right now in San Francisco, I believe it is, or somewhere else, just switched like 2 years ago from like funding mostly Republican candidates and being a Republican. He just switched to Democrat, and he's going to become the governor there.
Oh, okay, so he played switcheroo as well because it's blue no matter who for them. So as long as you wear the blue tie, then
Yeah,
they just click the box, and
it,
there's
it,
so
it,
many of them because
it's
they
like a Giuliani situation. Like Giuliani is like semi pro abortion, blah blah blah. Like he's like pro abortion up to like 3 months, which is like I'm okay with that. You know, it's better
I'm
than what
not,
we
but
currently have. Well, no,
yeah,
on
it's
a
an
political
improvement. I see
level,
you're talking about
it's
baby steps, and I
yeah, yeah,
get you, but I'm always into absolutes, and I'm just like absolutely no, just
yeah. No,
no. This practice
that's
ends.
where I
The
want it to be.
transhumanism ends.
I
You know?
want it to be there. I want it to
Yeah.
be there, but we're not there. It takes steps. So it's just kind of funny that the guy that just switched from a Republican like 2 months, 2 years ago, I guess, or whatever it was, is actually, looks like he's going to gain the governorship of that city. And so there's steps that are being taken because people are getting fed that bleep up. There, like I got earlier this today. I got a message. My lawnmower broke down earlier today. I was about to go take care of one of the only 2 yards I take care of, and my lawnmower's front right wheel fell off. And I sent a message to the guy, and I was like, "Look, dude, my wheel fell off. I you owe me $150 from last month. Can you pay me so I can fix this?" And he paid me right away. And then he said, "Sorry, I can't take care of your service anymore. I can't actually afford it. My gas price has gone up by double. I can't actually afford anything anymore." My
This
bills
is
went, his bill on gas, and he's working for he's working for dang it, what are they called? He's working for a union up in Massachusetts. And his gas bill just to drive back and forth to work went from 600 or 400 a month up to like 1200 a month. And he's like, I have
it's
to try to cut any
interesting
corner.
because this gas price situation, this should be the undoing for any politician. But what happens is most of the people that are putting the Democrats in power are they're living in inner cities, and their commute is on foot or bicycle or
Or
walking.
they can take a
Or I already
bus
said on
that's
foot, but yeah,
subsidized by the
buses,
government.
all these other things. And so the people on the outside that have to commute are the ones that are feeling this, and the people in the country are definitely feeling this. There is going to be a reckoning over the fuel price situation. um and I don't think that they can sell these electric cars to people. This is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard is, oh well, you can't afford gas, why not just buy a new car? It's the dumbest thing
Maybe
I've
in
ever
30
heard. Yeah,
years, maybe
yeah,
in 30
yeah.
years.
Yeah, and this is another thing is they'll probably give some sort of free cars out because they love spending money that they just freshly printed. They just love to print
Oh,
money
exactly.
and pass the debt on to generation to generation. Um, but
Well, and to me, that's why it's so important to get them all voted out this next election cycle.
I still don't see the democratic solution. Because one thing, it's information, and the information war is probably we're doing a podcast right now, so like we're part of it. And I think it's really important because everybody needs to be aware of what they're doing and what's being done and everything like that. Uh but they have so much. They just they're able to just completely turn a narrative. The whole time at Davos, they were just the whole conversation was controlling narratives, and that's Klaus's new book, and it's all about public trust and things like that. The thing is, they already injected so many people, and I, based off of what I've researched, I don't think a lot of those people are going to make it, and that's a huge concern. So I mean, we're in the midst of a huge depopulation, and that means that these psychopaths become way more powerful. And regardless of it's going to be mostly leftists that suffer for this because they bought it. They bought the whole situation hook, line, and sinker. But I don't think anything's going to really change whenever whatever brand of the right gets control at the moment, because it's too soft, it's too weak. It's like they say, it's liberalism driving the speed limit. We really have to push back against all of this nonsense,
The
and
o-
and it's part of the info war. Like, understanding the info war, we have to really push back against the nonsense. And
but the info war is all shifting right now. That's what's
it is,
fascinating
it
to
is.
watch.
I'm with that. Yeah, I agree.
It's,
I
but
agree.
like even
That is a white pill.
the only
I
political campaigns that I see come across YouTube or Hulu, like when I'm watching a TV show or whatever, are like people that are just like, oh yes, I'm a populist and I want to build Trump's wall. I want to rebuild the border. I want to fix these different types of
that's
things that are all
algos though.
huh?
That's algos. If you were watching
I don't know
David
what algo
Pac-Man,
is.
the algo would send you some Beto ad where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be stupid
Oh, you
looking
mean
and
the
grab all your guns.
algorithms? That's what you mean.
Yeah, the
I
algorithms, the algos,
it might be that actually might be accurate, but the main
it's
thing is that we're
definitely accurate.
uh, okay. Well, I'll just agree with you on that one, but we're hitting against a wall. Like Biden's improvement is lower than Trump's improvement at this time in his presidency. He had
And they
40,
lied about both. So
but Biden is being propped up as much as possible, and he's below Trump right now. And Trump was being attacked nonstop. People are going, what the fuck? And that ties us into transgender.
okay. So this thing in Dallas the other day, it's not gonna lick itself. These freaks got into
The
I mean,
stupidest. Like, seriously, they look, if you're going to try to run a PSYOP, take that sign away. Just take the sign away and you'd be able to do
Yeah,
better. Like, what
but
the flipping flying crap? Like, you left the sign up? You guys are
it might have
idiots.
been on purpose for it, just to create more outrage. It's rage bait, is what I call it all the time. It's like when you see, Justin Trudeau on the screen and he's telling you about all the terrible things he's getting away with toward the Canadians, and you're just like, I hate that guy. It's rage bait for us. And so when you see this stuff, know that there is some manipulation from that side. What was really crazy about this stuff was that they had all these ridiculous, ugly Antifa guard people out front, and I really probably shouldn't trash them because they're probably gonna dox me or something stupid like that. But I hate those people. I don't care. Anyway, yeah, these ridiculous looking people out front trying to make sure that this thing happens, the cops going along with all of these things, and nobody was able to stop it, and it was sick, and it was happening in Texas, which is my home state. They're helping you dox me a little bit more, but it's happening in Texas, and it's bad news. It's a bad look, and it's disgusting. I mean, these perverts are touching kids and guiding kids and influencing kids, and that's what it's about there. The kids are putting dollars in their G-string. It's ridiculous.
And they're being encouraged by their parents, which is, to me, the most sick thing about the
Yeah,
whole entire effing bleeping show. Like, seriously, why
it's
aren't those parents being denied parental rights? Like,
so
somebody take those kids away and adopt them. Like I have some really good friends that met my mom about a month ago. They met my mom, and they basically told me, like, look, if I met your mom when you were a kid, I would have adopted you right off the bat, and you would have not had any of the BS from your mom, period. It would have ended. They met my mom and they went, oh, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get all the BS you've been through and all the shit you've gone through. Because my mom, if my mom would have raised me in that time period, God, freaking blop. I should not say that, but she would have probably taken me to that like thing. I remember my mom taking me to bars.
And you might have got the.
Oh, that would have been. Oh gosh. Yeah, no,
So
I'm glad I wasn't raised in the last generation because I might not
y-
have had
this
my
is rough, and
my cherries.
it plays into the depopulation agenda. Just like almost every single thing that we're seeing these days is playing into this depopulation agenda. It's like it's multiple things at once. It's like they put atrazine in the water and all the hormones in the meats and milks and things like that, and all the phytoestrogens and all the rest of it is just like it's feminizing our culture. And then they give them this root, this
Not
like it's like, oh, do
it's
you
not
feel feminine?
feminizing. It's not feminizing. It's neutering. They're not even
Yeah,
feminizing the
okay.
culture because of the true feminine. Like if you're actually a female, you actually want to nurture and care for. They're not even going that way. They're just neutering everybody.
But that
But
also plays
they're
into preventing future generations.
yeah, but it's not the same as feminizing the generation. They're literally trying to neuter it.
In order
I've been
to neuter a male, you would need to attack uh, the testosterone with just as much estrogen. Mute your thing there. That was loud, very loud.
it
Anyway,
stopped. It
but
stopped. I
you would
didn't want
attack
that
the
light to die.
oh, okay. You would attack the testosterone with much estrogen. So and so these people feel weird because they're getting externally drugged through the pharma foods and all the other things like the stuff I was telling you about in the water that's in the plastics. It is everywhere. And so they're doing it on this front. They've got a whole cultural shift. So they're doing everything on every single front they can possibly do to prevent future generations of human beings. And this is a demonic plan. That's what's going on here. And it's like, and so like I always relate the transgender stuff to Baphomet, because it's a male and it's a female, it's a man, it's a beast, it's light and it's dark, and it's, you know, hairy and it's hairless. It's got all these like different dualities and everything like that. So it's the kind of the deity of the transgender movement. And watching these parents shoving their kids forward to these freaks and put money in their thongs is just like these people doing a ritualistic sacrifice to some ancient deity. It it's really how it relates. And whenever you start to see the things that are happening in this world and how they relate to a spiritual situation, it's really interesting, and watching that play out.
But I've literally watched this play out on certain levels in my family, and it's just all tied around selfishness. Everything about it is tied around selfishness. Nothing
Well,
about it is actually
that's a huge part of Satanism,
yeah. But it nothing about it is it's all about what you can do for me. Like I
or
was,
Satanism's other name, secular humanism.
or sorry, I should say it. There, it's nothing about not what you can do for well it's everything is about what you can do for me. It's all about focusing on self. That's why the Democratic Party, its roots are built in slavery. It was built on using other people and maximizing their use off of other people. And that's why whenever you get into true capitalism, if somebody's abusing somebody too much, that person walks away and starts their own business or starts working for someone else. I've seen it. The last I saw somebody's business completely collapse in the last 2 months. because he was using people, he didn't have things set up properly. He was just running people around, and it was just like, oh, well, they can deal with the problems, etc., etc. And because he kept on bringing subcontractors out there and didn't have you set up a concrete, you set up a wall, and then you put sheetrock on it, and then next you need to get somebody to mud it, and then next you need to get somebody to paint it, and then you get somebody to put the tile in for the bathroom. I would go in to lay down the bathroom, and he would be 2 weeks behind, and he'd be like, lay the bathroom tile. And it's like, I can't do it until these guys get the other job. He was just using people, and so his company basically is collapsing around his head right now because he didn't treat people properly and set up things properly. And so he's losing on it. Now, if you're a slaveholder where you just own the person, then you can just use them for whatever you want. That's what these people want. They just want to be able to enslave people and tell them what to think, how to think, and not to disobey. And that's why the Democratic Party is still rooted in slavery. Same for communists and socialists. Those systems only work when you have plebs that are willing to work and dedicate themselves to you in order to lift yourself up. It's all based around selfish ideology, and it's basically all centered around, let's just say, Moloch, for lack of a better term. It's
Yeah.
all around the worship of Moloch. It's all around how do I lift myself up and make myself better. Whereas for me personally, the way I see myself succeeding is by helping others succeed. I want to hire a subcontractor to work for me on a lawn care crew. I'm not going to pay him $7 an hour. I'll pay him 50% of the yards he does. If I have somebody helping me do a house, the less work I have to do on the house, the more money that guy's going to make. I want to make him a subcontractor that a guy can depend on. I want to be able to not even worry about it. He makes some money, and then if he makes enough money to put into one of my projects, hell, he can do that. Or if he starts his own project and he needs an investor, I'm willing to put in. Or if he goes out on his own, I'm happy with that. I want to build people up because that's the best way to build myself up. But if you just enslave people, you're just dealing with rebellious people the entire time. And that's why I think the system is doomed to fail. The system's doomed to fail because they're just putting themselves in a situation where they're going to be stuck with rebellious people because they're trying to enslave them. And we're going to stand up and say, F you. Hold up the middle finger and walk away.
Uh, I really hope so. I really hope so. I'm afraid that because of these depopulation movements, these depopulation plots being so successful, that we're going to see a lot less people, and a lot less people means a lot more powerful, a lot more power for the currently powerful. And so I'm pretty terrified on that front. And that's really what I'm thinking, is that one of the things is at the same time as they're reducing our food and doing all the other things, because eventually they want us to fight amongst ourselves. That's like the main goal. Um they really want us to go at each other's throats, because that's a lot less work for them. They'll just hide out in bunkers and come out whenever the fighting's over. I think things are going to get really, really rough and really, really nasty. And I think that the most important thing for anyone out there is to do your best to prepare for this situation, and to be good to your neighbors, because your neighbors are going to be your best allies, and forming those bonds are going to be really, really important. I know I'm going to stay in the business of getting things to other people as much as possible. Like I'm going to try to stay in the supply line until I can't, and we'll see what happens with that. But I would say that your best bet, uh, for anybody out there. And by the way, we don't give advice at all. No legal, no medical, no what else? We just don't give advice. No advice here. But
It's all about
you probably
entertainment.
should be prepping.
Yeah. It's a
Writing
humble
is on the
suggestive.
wall. big time.
That's that's why I'm working so damn hard to get these two houses fixed up and sold before the market crashes.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Financial advice. We don't give that either. So,
Oh yeah, there we go. No
yeah.
financial advice.
No financial, no medical, no legal, no life. I mean, we're just idiots. So, but
But
on
I
that note, let's come back again next week.
well,
Sorry for
let's do
the gap. Oh, you got one more.
let let's just switch over to Kavanaugh just to tie it up because I feel like Kavanaugh
Oh,
can
right.
tie
Yeah,
it
you
up
had something on
nicely.
that.
So
Okay.
what are your thoughts on Kavanaugh on the assassination attempt against him?
Oh, I thought you were asking me my thoughts on well, is so I think Kavanaugh, like my personal opinion on him is he's going to be the one that will completely betray the right. But but as far as this goes, this situation, this is you don't you just don't do this. I mean, obviously. Uh it's amazing that the mechanisms of power, they freaked out about the J6 thing like so much because somebody said they were going to hang Mike Pence or something ridiculous like that. And I don't even know if anybody actually even said that. I doubt somebody did, really, based off of how much lies are told to us all the time. But they're just casually like, oh, whatever, just a Supreme Court justice, like somebody wants to hurt him, big deal. They hardly even uh even gave this guy protection, which is another reason that they shouldn't touch our second, because if he can defend himself, then you won't need the protection of the state. So
And so,
so
but the
there you go.
funnier thing on that, the more amusing one on that is the reason that the gunner did not go over and attack Kavanaugh was because the security detail was there with guns.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the government has guns protecting them pretty much at all
Yeah,
times.
but that ties back into the whole shootings over in Texas. They did not have a hard lock over in Texas. Would it not be better to have a retired veteran sitting at a school, being a dad to the school kids, sitting there with an open carry? If
I,
anybody walks in, they're just
I
like, oh,
think
fuck no, I'm just going to walk away from this situation. I'm going to be shot the moment I pull out a gun. That's literally what happened to this guy. This guy walked up to Kavanaugh's house. To my understanding, this is what happened. He went up to Kavanaugh's house and he went, oh crap, I can't do anything. So he just started walking. And then they were like, that guy looks funny. Pulled him over, found a tons of guns on him. And then he was like, yeah, I was going to shoot Kavanaugh. It's like, seriously, guys? Like, the
you know what this
reason.
sounds like? This sounds like a fed up to me. This sounds like something that's meant to be in the news cycle. Really, it,
If it
maybe we
was
shouldn't
meant
even
to
be
be,
giving it attention
it would
for that reason.
if it was meant to be in the news cycle, why would it be 36 paragraphs down in the New York Times? They didn't put it as a headline. They put it at the very fucking bottom.
Back to
They
the
put it at
rage
the
bait thing that I was mentioning earlier. That they
that's
want to
like
control
playing
your.
that's like playing 20D chess if they want to go that deep. I think they don't want
uh,
anybody to hear about this because it backs up. Well, this is a question for you. I'm curious. Do you
mhm.
think the best way what do you think the best way to defend schools is on this level? Because I know in the
I
churches that I've gone to, I've been in several churches where they actually had gun classes and specific people. If anybody, every single church I went to, if anybody walked into that church and started shooting at people, they would be dead in 10 seconds because there were
right.
armed guards everywhere. They had special training. One church I went to, the lady worked for the FBI at some point in her life, and she actually walked people through exactly what to do. Why do we not have that same thing in schools? Why?
I don't know if we really want it. Have you seen how crazy the teachers are these days?
We have to simple action.
I'm
You have
I'm
to have a
joking, but
military.
but
You
one
have to have a
thing.
military. You just say you have to have a military background in order to take part in this program.
Well, I was thinking that the local PD could train them and give them classes and have a class every month. I've heard this argument for a really really long time. There's you never know when someone's gonna pop off, and I think a lot more things are gonna be happening in as far as the economy tanking, that a lot more people are going to start popping off, which is really scary and another good reason that you should defend yourself and learn how to, and be disciplined and be good about it, but yeah.
But to me, a disciplined person that's struggling through an economy downturn is going to be more cautious about what they're doing, and they're going to be better at it. You're going to have less chance of craziness happening. I listened to a podcast by this guy that immigrated here from Syria. Like, I listened to the podcast like a week ago, and he was talking about the economic downturn that's coming. And not financial advice, um, but he was talking about the economic downturn that's coming. And one of his points was is that if you set yourself up properly, and if basically once an economic downturn comes, it's the best time to set up a business because you're going to find employees who want to work, who are disciplined. They want to provide for their families. Hard times create good men. Good men create good times. Good times create lazy men, is the way I like to say it. And so those people who were in the period of lazy men that did not decide to be lazy but decide to be hardworking, we're going to be set up if we press forward. And that's the cycle that's coming in. Most people are lazy. Those that are busting their asses and working hard, we're going to be set up because we're going to have opportunities to take advantage of. If you have money, you're going to be able to 20 or 30x your money because you'll be able to buy a car from somebody that like he actually showed a photo of somebody during the stock market crash of, is it 1930, am I in the right time frame, 1925, 1930, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think I heard this on Tom Woods' show. Is that right?
No, this wasn't on Tom Woods, but I've
Oh, it
you know
wasn't.
I've
Okay.
heard I've heard similar things on Tom Woods, but basically a guy was just like, I lost everything in the stock market crash. You can buy my car for $100. And so if you had
Oh,
that
okay.
hundred, and
Gotcha. If you have the 100, then you have the car. Yeah,
yeah,
gotcha.
and that's why I'm working so freaking hard to sell these two properties before this thing crashes. That's why I'm working nonstop, 10 to 12-hour days, even though my back's not being very friendly to me. I'm just working through the pain. I'm just finding ways to work through the pain on my back and just going, I'm getting rid of these two houses. Because if I sell both houses, I'm going to have not as much cash as somebody in California would have, but I'll have a very nice chunk of change if I sell both houses. And
Or I
then,
will come up to you and give you $100 for the house.
well, I own, I basically own the houses outright, but we'll be able to work out on less. But I'd prefer to sell them at top of the market because then I could buy like five
I feel you.
foreclosed houses. I could buy five
Yeah.
houses with what I could make if I can get these gone in 2 months or 3 months. It's a process, and it's all about like continuing to work this out. There's a process to where the people that are dedicated and working hard can actually make money off of this thing. But there's also a process to where the people that lose everything in this upcoming crash and this upcoming food crisis can learn something
Which
from
we're not
listening to
sure
people
if
like
these
us.
things are upcoming because we don't give advice.
Exactly. We think it's coming. We're not sure. We're not financial advisors. We're just talking about a story. And this is the
Right.
story. This is the story of a hardworking person. So you've got the little piggy that built his house out of straw. Then you got the other piggy that built his house on sand, and then you've got the other piggy that built his house on rock using 2x4s and cinder blocks. And the piggy that worked harder came out on top because he had his assets in order.
Right. So that's not advice, but get your assets in order.
It's a story, but still, there's a way that we can process what we're going to be going through in upcoming times, and it's
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 very
also going
important to be to know what anticipate your needs. That's the right way of saying it. Anticipate your needs. And anticipate
oh
what could happen in these situations.
here we actually have a comment.
Oh wow.
Until employees until employers pay living wages, nothing will change.
What's a living wage?
Exactly. With inflation, people need a minimum wage of 20 per hour to get by.
Okay. Things are gonna get
Um,
really tough then.
well, Sam Tyler, I made 20 an hour as a server 10 years ago. I worked my butt off and I was able to buy two houses. So, $20 an hour is definitely a way you could have gotten by 10 years ago. But now, $20 an hour, you'd be lucky to be able to rent a room in most areas in the U.S. Because of
And
inflation. And they're trying to curb the inflation by raising interest rates, which means that everything's going to be dropping off,
no
hypothetically.
no one's running all the numbers in these equations, and that's why this is really annoying and insane to me. My nephew makes 15 bucks an hour working at a big supermarket chain, and I'm like, I didn't make anywhere near that at his age, and he's already bought himself a car and all this other stuff, but he had absolutely no experience going into that, and then they just hand him, twice what I was making as a manager back in the 90s. So there's a bunch of things that go in this equation. Now that supermarket has to raise prices for the consumer, so that ends up affecting poor people too. And you have to run every element of this equation before you just go, oh yeah, you should be paying $20 an hour. Sometimes people aren't worth $20 an hour, and that's just a fact. And I'm sorry it's true. It's just true.
For me, I'm trying to figure out how to talk to my business partner. He's running on the equation that $150 that he was paying his employees 10 years ago is good. And for, well, $100 is what he paid, somebody that was not quote unquote worthy of, doing tile installs and flooring installs. So I would make, like, let's basically, I'm working on properties with him that are my properties, and I'm making $300 to $1,000 a day if they sell before the market crashes. But in order to free up his time to use his expertise on the houses, I have to work for him sometimes 1 to 4 days a week. Those 1 to 4 days a week, I'm actually losing money because the amount of time it takes my truck to drive 60 miles away to work on a property with the maintenance, I'm not
Right.
making any money. It's like, why don't you have money in your bank account? It's just, whenever I work for you, I'm losing money. It's like, why are you losing money? Why is it costing you so much? Because you're not paying me enough. And for the specific industry of installing flooring, it's because the illegal immigrants have undercut the market so much he can't afford to pay anybody, and he can't charge his customers more because an illegal immigrant will come over and undercut his prices. He
Right.
needs to
And
change
then
his
there's
business
that.
model. He needs to
Yeah.
completely change his business model. And that's why I keep on like I'm trying to hint at him, and I'm just trying to tell him, and I have to wait until I sell my two houses, just be like, dude, your business model fucking sucks. It's not going to work under the current system. Let's do something different. If we both sell these houses, we'll be sitting on tons of cash because he owns part of both of my houses. We can be sitting on tons of cash, but you have to shift. You have to shift because there's too much undercutting going on. You have to try something completely new that you're not comfortable with. And I'm just going to be curious if he goes along with me or if I'm just going to do it on my own with other people.
Right.
So,
I I think we should cut it there.
cut it there. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
better way to write.
Let's wrap it up by saying sorry we've been gone for a little bit. I went and attended Childerberg, and I was going to do a live from Childerberg bit last weekend, but that didn't work out. So I've also had some family situations in the meantime. But we're going to try to do this weekly if we can.
Yep, I like that, and I hear you there, brother. Well, Andy, oh, have a wonderful evening, and we'll be talking together soon. And
All right.
let's try to keep this going regular.
All right. Talk to you then.
All right, bye.